Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Welcome to the Big Meow podcast, brought to you by C.A.T.S Networking. I'm your host, Angela Howard, and I am here with Kathy James, who has a really interesting story. And she is the CEO of Girl Fight and She Shed Media Group. Welcome, Kathy. Can't wait to talk to you.
Thanks, Angela. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So reading your rap sheet, you have so much that you help people with in their personal and professional lives. Focus in on what the main thing that you can do for people out there to transform their lives.
So there's a few things, but overall, my biggest passion is helping someone to persevere in their personal goals, whatever that might be. For me, it was, a step of healing. And then later in life, it was my career and my finances. So I had to overcome a lot to get to where I am today. And it's my deepest passion to extend hope and a support system to those that are looking to do the same.
So you're a coach, is that right?
Yes, that's actually fairly new. I decided to go ahead and step out into the coaching world. Prior to that, I was offering mentorship and training and speaking engagements. And I finally decided to take the plunge and to offer up coaching. So I do help busy professionals get unstuck with my resiliency coaching program.
Oh, tell us about your resiliency coaching program.
So the resiliency coaching program so I used to fight a lot when I was younger. It's part of my story. And now I fight for my happiness and my goals. And so hence Girl Fight, the theme, I take on the theme of a champion. And if you think about any type of championship sport, they put together with their coaches a resiliency plan. And so I help my clients in a sense to develop their own personal resiliency plan so that they can persevere in their personal goals.
Tell me what it was in your business that gave you the greatest lift. I see that you're a TEDx speaker.
Yes.
I'm curious if that was something that gave your business a real step forward.
Well, so it was more so my mentor, my coach, should I say, my mentor, my coach, to help me to get to that next level. My TEDx is actually next month. So so I'm super excited about it. It'll be my first and speaking in Boston. So I'm super excited about that. And it's just before I'm getting married as well. So it's all happening all in a very short period of time. But taking on a personal coach made a world of a difference for my professional goals to extend into the world of speaking and coaching, and just being able to use him as a sounding board and to avoid the detour, the mistakes that he made or others make, and to be able to glean from the resources that they have it's a huge difference in my success.
Yeah, thank you for the tip, because we here at C.A.T.S, we love sharing advice and tips for each other. We are collaborators. We don't believe in competing like Fight Girl, I see. So you understand the difference. And so I want to bring up your interesting story. You went through the dark night of the soul and came out on the other side. Thank goodness for you and for all of us. So tell us a little bit about that, and then the inspiration that got you to the other side.
Sure. So I grew up in a home that was prone to violence. Both of my parents were addicted to drugs. My mother took to prostitution by the time I was 13 years old. And I found myself in a situation where I was being bullied at home as well as at school. And I later became the very bully that I once loathed. I felt like that gave me control over some aspects of my life, whereas I had no control over the others. And so, as you can imagine, rage would take over my life. You know, I started to mimic the similar patterns, became a borderline alcoholic by 19. I was a teen mother at 16. So there was a lot going on in my life as a young woman. And it wasn't until some positive individuals stepped into my life and started to show me that something was that there was hope, that there was a different path. And if I'm being honest, it was a very spiritual awakening for me. I had gone to church and Bible study when I was younger. You know, at first we went with my grandparents, and then we caught the bus. But it was one night when I was screaming at my husband, in my pajamas in the still of the night, screaming that I didn't want to do this anymore. Now, and then suddenly I had this still soft voice tell me I didn't have to. And I knew at that moment, for me, it was the Lord talking to me, telling me that, you know, I didn't have to continue the fight that I was fighting, and that there was, you know, that he would guide me. And obviously I had some positive influences that led me to that moment, but that moment was the breaking point for me. And from that moment on, I started to grow and to flourish. And it took a long while, but we eventually, I started educating myself and seeking out to grow a career, whereas before I was going from job to job. And it was a long, hard road, but it was so worth it. And I knew very early on that after hearing a Joyce Meyer's story, she's an evangelist, and I happened to see her one day on the television, and heard her story for the first time, and saw that she was changing lives. And it wasn't the glamour of her being on the stage, not by any means. It was the fact that she was impacting so many people, even in their own family rooms. And I knew then that I was going to be making a difference with my story in the lives of men and women. And that was when I was 22 years old. Now I'm telling my age, and here I am 42. So I knew very, very early on in my healing journey to break those generational cycles and to grow and flourish in other ways, that I was going to be helping men and women to be able to do the same.
Yeah, that is quite a story. And I'm curious, share with us a success story of one of your clients, the before and after. I mean, you're a powerful woman, so I'd love to hear a recent success story.
Sure. So I started working with a young lady. This is more of a mentorship because the coaching is still new, and I started working with a young lady that was having some struggles in her workplace. And she was having problems. She came to me because she saw that I was willing to help with career development. And she was having problems with a particular woman in her workplace, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't understand why this woman was attacking her or belittling her every day. And she felt like she had tried everything. And when I got to talking to her, we kind of investigated what the barriers were, and we started digging around and found out that she had a goal to leave the company soon anyways, and that she had a goal to get into a new position, and that she had been saving up for this particular program that she needed to take in order to get a certificate for. And I helped her through persevering in that tough time at work, but through assessing her goals and reprioritizing her funds and her activities, we were able to eventually get her out of that job and get her into a position that was more comfortable for her. It gave her a little bit more income. It was not the ultimate goal just yet, but she got into a place where she felt valued and was able to make an additional income to help her towards that ultimate goal.
You mentioned something in that story that a lot of women go through, unfortunately. For those of us who are competitive and not collaborative, we have those struggling relationships in life. It could be personal, it could be business, but do you have a tip or advice for those of us out there that may be struggling with a very tough other female relationship? Not talking about like a family or something kind of intimate, but those workplace relationships where there's aggression. Do you have a tip or some advice that could help us with that?
So I have a personal experience where I'd like to share. I had a manager that was to the T, very competitive in nature, not towards the men, it was towards the women. Oh. And it was very obvious, it became very obvious. And it got to a point where I overheard a conversation that she was having. And I came to a crossroads of whether or not I needed to say something or just ignore it. And I'm really good at, and this is something that you can take away from as well, I don't act immediately. I've gotten to the point where I give myself space to digest what's going on, to journal if I have to, bounce ideas off of another peer or someone external to the situation. And I put together a plan. I knew I had to have a conversation with her because it was now not just bothering me one day. It was now constantly a reminder every day, almost suffocating to the point where walking on eggshells. And I sat down with her and I told her, I was like, look, we are both very strong, independent women. And I feel like there's a disconnect. And I don't think that it's ill-intentioned. And I really want us to get past this. And that's a summary, high summary of the conversation. But I think sometimes there's room for having that honest conversation. And did it get perfect after that? No, but she respected it and she tried harder out of respect for my willingness to come to her and approach her in that manner versus becoming defensive. And I think that it helped her to recognize her own insecurities as well. So I just encourage you that, if you get anything out of that, take space for yourself to reflect and continue to take care of yourself through self-care. Find somebody that's a sounding board, because sometimes we can assume situations and be based off of our own past fears or experiences, and having somebody to bounce ideas off of with an external, external to the situation will help us to balance our thinking and to come up with an actionable plan to deal with those types of women. Also, don't take it personal. It's hard not to, because it's happening to us, but know that it's something that they're struggling with as well. And if we recognize that they're battling their own fears, their own insecurities, it helps us. It helps soften it just a smidge even. But I think that recognizing when a conversation needs to happen and when sometimes we just let it roll off of our backs, but we definitely don't deserve to continue in a position where we feel belittled and undervalued.
Yeah. Wow. Those are some good tips. The insecurity recognition, and to know that it's not about you. And it sounds like, for the crumb of compassion you can muster up to have the conversation, would probably be a good thing to do. And we appreciate those tips here at C.A.T.S. So Kathy, tell us how we get in touch with you.
You can contact me at one of two of my websites, kathyjames.org or mygirlfight.com.
My Girl Fight. Yeah, that's great. Wow. So it's been wonderful talking to you, hearing your
Thank you.
story, hearing you getting to the other side and helping others get to the other side. We so appreciate your time here at C.A.T.S. and we
Yes.
wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated, sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.